Hello, Internet world. This is Chris O'Kelly's SoundCloud channel. In this episode of my real life and my real friends, I'm at Savoi Davis's house, and he is a writer, motivational speaker, very talented person on many levels, and I am here with him today, and I'm gonna turn the mic over to him here in a few, because I'm just gonna get him to talk about some of the themes of his work, some things he's interested in, what anything he might want to talk about. So you guys have a real treat today. So here's Savoi Davis.
Well, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do some speaking, and I do some life coaching, and people ask me constantly, how did I get involved in that? And I just always just kind of been curious about humanity and humanity as a whole. Why people do what they do, why do they think the way that they think, and just really getting into the backstory of and trying to understand people and why that they are the way that they are. That just kind of drove me, just the past couple of years. I realized everything I've been writing about that I feel like is different subjects. It's just me writing about relationships. And even though I think I do bring some fresh perspectives in some of those areas, I'm sure it's all been said before, just in a different way. I think it was Solomon who said that there's nothing new under the sun. And I think that if we look back on humanity and who we've been just over the past 50 years to 100 years to 200 years, 300 years, we really see that there's nothing new under the sun, that things change or give the illusion of changing by, better water systems and defeating disease and having wealth beyond measure, and somehow we pass that off for that something's really kind of changed in the way that we are as humanity, as humans, and how we relate to each other. We have plenty of strategy on how to do war, though. We're very good at that. We're very good at finding reasons to war, whether it's war with other countries, or just war amongst ourselves, or just war amongst in marriages with each other, and really the biggest war, the war that you have with yourself. I think how many times, I know I have, and people think to themselves, like, and you've been told that you are your worst enemy. And when you mess up, the first thing you go to is, man, I'm my own worst enemy. That's where the war begins. Because if a belief of ours is that we are our worst enemy, how can we ever trust ourselves? How can we ever trust others? And without trust, how could there ever be anything other than thoughts about ourselves? And where could there possibly be any love whatsoever? So something has to change. And this may, in some areas, just might be me of saying something different about a positive thought. But I think I'm looking at it at just a different angle, and I'm just kind of presenting that maybe you're not your own worst enemy. Matter of fact, maybe you are your best friend and you really like him a whole lot, and he's not your worst enemy. how about just changing the perspective of how we see ourselves, not as being better than anybody else, but just realizing that we are okay, that we're good people, and that every man's just kind of going through light and going through life in the light that he's been shown. Just walk in that. So how's that relationships? Relationships is all about how you relate to the world around you. So when you look at the world around you and the relationships that you have, what does that look like? And what does that have to do with how you see yourself first? It's kind of like significance. Significance is like one of the biggest struggles for people. People want it. But significance is something that can only be given. You can't take it. You can't earn it. Can't buy it. People give it. Like there's things in your life that you give significance to. I mean, like your favorite football team. So for some people, that's really significant stuff. Significant to the fact they would fight someone else over a football team. It's very significant to them. They gave it that meaning, right? But significance isn't equality, because equality is not something you can give somebody else. Equality is only something that you can see in yourself. You can't take it. You can't buy it. You can change the laws and try to force and make it pretend that there's equality in this area or that area. But as long as you're fighting for something, then you are admitting that you're not equal to it. Because you're trying to convince someone else and force someone else to see you differently. The reason why that we do the reason why it's so hard for us to say, I am equal to someone else, is because when I say I'm equal, I'm also admitting their equality to me. And that's the part we struggle with the most. When someone has true equality and there's true equal rights, it will come down to those people seeing themselves first as equal. And no matter how the other ones act, they see those people as their equal. Even when their opinions disagree, those opinions are just as valuable as yours. And respect that. But someone's got to go first. Because at the end of the day, as far as humanity goes, if you think you matter, then everyone matters. And if one of those people doesn't matter, then nothing matters. So I end it with this, that I matter because you matter.
Savoi, thanks for that. It was very powerful. I was very much inspired by it. Savoi, so if there's anything else you'd want to touch on, any, even if it's just a day-to-day something that inspires you, something that you're passionate about, what would you say it is?
I have one sticky note that hangs. I don't believe in affirmations. So I believe that the more you're trying to affirm something yourself, the more you're affirming to yourself that you're not that, which is why you struggle with it. But who am I to tell you? But I have one sticky note that just makes a declaration, because it includes everyone. It must be true. And it just says, all roles are equal, and all roles are of equal importance. That means when I see the guy mopping the floors, or I see the guy, homeless person on the corner, every role is needed. And it's being played out. And respect them, because you are in all those roles. There's a little bit of you in all of them. That's why you're like, man, why would they do that to themselves? Because you're seeing yourself, you're seeing a part of you in them, and you're going, man, why can't they see that that's hurting them? So I just really go through life, and if I feel myself getting angry or my feelings being hurt, what is it about me that I think is so important that someone else is offending that would cause this reaction in me? And it really just makes me feel silly. And I chuckle about it. And I just feel I have more to give that way.
Thanks. I have a question, actually. It just came to me. Remember a couple weeks ago you had talked about having a strong I am presence meditation, where you experience a lot of powerful things. Would you like to tell that story?
Yeah, I'll tell a little bit of it. But it was really, I grew up Christian home, and studied a lot about, Jewish traditions around just I am, and other religions and things about just what I am is. And it feels almost, just feels almost like, I don't know, dirty for me to think of myself as God. Like that just seems like the most arrogant comment in the world. So that's a very hard thing for me to relate to. And yet I know that God lives in me. So I just started thinking about who I am as a man in this meditation that I did. And I just started thinking about all that I am as a man. And I just had my hands held out in front of me, and I'm just envisioning, things I've done good, things I've done wrong, just all these things, just building up who I am, and realizing it's less than perfect, realizing I've failed plenty of people, and realize, though, that I've loved people, and I've done a lot of stuff I've done from the best of where I was at that point in my life. And I just looked at all that I am, which doesn't seem like a lot, and in my hands, I just threw it up to God. And God is the I am. And I watched this, all that I was, just kind of go up in and then just come right back out into all the earth. It was almost like in the New Testament, it talks about that all things were made through him, by him, and to him. And I just watched how God is just pouring down on us all the time. and just all that we are just goes right back up into all that he is and just comes back down.
All right, well, so we are currently in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and things around here are kind of fascinating. We're watching a lot of different stories with a lot of different friends of ours who are having different spiritual experiences. Kathy Cray is someone that we both have experienced spirituality through in various ways. We all have our different backgrounds, but I think Savoi is onto something very profound, and it's worth contemplating and taking in and seeing. Even if first you might want to laugh, you might want to cry, you might want to just reject it right out. Think about that it has a reaction on you, and that's something that can be contemplated. You think about why you had that reaction to whatever you heard, and sometimes you'll find some deep answers in that kind of questioning. So I encourage it, and have a great time wherever you are, and maybe you'll hear from both of us again. I don't know, who knows. I know there will be some more interviews, so we'll see what goes on in the future. I might do some recurring themes. So, all right, well, have a good one. Hello, Internet world. This is